Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Beyond the Buzzer. I am your host tonight, the student of the game, Kyle Nash. We do not have Danny Thompson tonight, and he's going to miss it because it's going to be a great one tonight. Listen, we're talking a lot of NFL draft. We're talking sports in general, as we normally do. We all like talking about sports, and we're glad you chose to do it with us here tonight on Beyond the Buzzer. Of course, with me instead of Danny Thompson, the far more handsome, or at least technically inclined, Bobby Blackjack, ready to handle business with me. What's going on, Bobby?
What's up there, Kyle? How are you? How's your week?
Hey, man, listen, I am glad to announce that I have achieved my second Fauci ouchie, which is the second round of vaccine. So true inoculation has begun. And after a bit of light discomfort last night, I'm back in the game. And ready to do it tonight, man. Listen, very exciting. We're talking about NFL draft in a minute. Good friend of mine, Brandon Howard from The Athletic, will be with us at 9:30 tonight. Super stoked for that. This is somebody, Bobby, if everybody has their top 2 or 3 shows of all time, I could say for a fact that Brandon Howard is the number 2 best show on my list. It goes years back. When I was still doing the Student of the Game podcast, he came in and had an excellent show. But we'll have him on to talk some draft and to get into whether or not my theories and thought process for a lot of the things in the draft are crazy, justified, and what other questions that we may have out there are also a thing. And hey, listen, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're inclined to comment here tonight, if you're watching through the Beyond the Buzzer Facebook page, go ahead and do so. If you have questions for me or even Brandon Howard while he's in, go ahead and drop those in there in the comment section. We'll definitely field them. We haven't even last time we didn't get any remarks from our favorite troll, Rodney. I'm starting to feel neglected that we are not getting harassed by Rodney.
Yeah, it's always anything, right?
I mean, I guess he's that scared that I'm going to beat him in that 40-yard dash we're allegedly going to run. I don't know. And so,
keeps slamming the food up here in the New York, New Jersey area too. So maybe he's just afraid of us. You're right. I think it's.
I mean, listen, fear is a factor sometimes. But yeah, listen, man, I got to tell you, there's been a lot going on, and I meant to go over it with you last week, and we didn't really get into it. There was a lot of other stuff we chewed up and talked an awful lot about. The whole. I was about to say Wes Welker, the whole Julian Edelman Hall of Fame thing and all that other stuff. But I'm glad we didn't get to it because it another permutation of what I was going to bring up has taken place and come and gone. And specifically I'm getting to is this. So, it's the draft. For those of you who have not been listening to this intro, nor to the to any of the news out there, if you've been living under a sports rock, what have you, right? But so I don't think anybody's in dispute that the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't drafting Sunshine, right? Like, that's a done deal. Trevor Lawrence is going to go to Jacksonville. Now, how much impact he'll have, how many games he'll win, and all that is another question. But as him for the first round pick, that's pretty locked up. Wouldn't you agree, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing. There was a little sputter here, like in the beginning, once they hired Urban Meyer, maybe he'll go for his Ohio State guy. Now that lasted all about 30 seconds.
Yeah, something like that, right? Then number 2, for some reason, mentioning the Ohio State guy, Justin Fields is not the obvious number 2. Apparently, Zach Wilson of BYU is supposed to be the whole big kit and caboodle going to the New York Jets, which it's one I don't personally understand. I'm not here to say that I think Zach Wilson's bad, but I don't know about number 2 overall pick. And certainly, I don't think he has what it takes to, to save the Jets. Like, we're not going to see an instant turnaround in 2021 from the Jets. Right.
And think about this real quick, Kyle.
Sure.
I'm not sure. We all know he went to BYU.
Right.
You know where he's from originally? Like where high school or whatever?
No, I don't know.
Because don't forget, you're going from BYU in the mountains of Utah to the bright lights and big city of New York. That's not a lot of athletes, no matter what sport you're in, have faltered, rookie or veteran, under those lights.
That's an excellent point, Bobby. I can't take that away from it. But over and all, from a football standpoint, he's got that. He's getting kind of what I would call that gunslinger read. Like, he's going to do things for you, and he can make some throws, but he's going to make some mistakes, right? And the last thing the Jets need is to be put in a position to bail a quarterback out, especially when literally every team in the division has gotten better from 2020 to 2021. Somehow or another, even the Bills managed to improve their damn receiver core, coming up with Emmanuel Sanders in there. What the hell is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think in the draft, I think the Dolphins are going to upgrade. How exactly on offense, I'm not sure, but I think they need to target offense in the early rounds. And of course, everyone's convinced that Bill Belichick is going to have a better year this year. I among them, simply for the fact that 800 bazillion players aren't going to be opting out, right? Cam Newton might be healthy for 30 seconds and then not get COVID going into the actual games. That'd be amazing, And as it was, they were 7-9, right? Damn.
Real quick. Hold on, and I thought real quick.
Yeah.
So as we get into the draft and everything, if you were Bill Belichick and you want, I guess my question would be, knowing you have Cam for one more year, and who knows if he's of the mindset of helping train somebody else. There are egos involved, and not every quarterback, or really quarterback especially, but not every quarterback is made or wants to mentor their replacement.
Right.
But being said, which of these quarterbacks after Big Bird and Zach Wilson would you say is a good fit for New England to have Cam oversee for a year?
Well, okay, so if you're putting it that way, it definitely takes Mac Jones off the list, right? Because if you're following in behind Cam, you have to be mobile, okay? So there's that. Then, to me, I think the most reasonable one, I don't think first of all, it's not going to happen, okay? But if there was a situation where Bill Belichick and the Patriots can trade up and somehow come out with Trey Lance, should he fall out of the first 6 or 7 picks, that's what I would see happening, right? And I mean, listen, when you look at the order, the Pats, obviously don't pick till like middle of the round and at number 15 or whatever. So, I can make an argument like the Lions at number 7 aren't going to get a new quarterback. The Dolphins might, but they got Tua. That's confusing. Will the Panthers get another quarterback? The Broncos would be the place where I would be most worried about Trey Lance or whatever the last quarterback of the 4, right? So we're talking Zach Wilson.
5.
Well, I'm not counting Sunshine because he's gone.
Oh, okay.
Right? Good point. Because I almost corrected it myself, and then I was like, well, no. Like Trevor Lawrence.
What's more offensive, Sunshine or Big Bird? I don't know.
I don't get Big Bird. Now, he's more of an athlete than that. Have you seen that costume move?
With the hair and the height, I don't know. It's what came to my mind when I watched him play for the first time.
I mean, listen, if it's something that'll get my kids more into sports by watching Big Bird on Sesame Street, I'm down. Let's do it. But, yeah. So Sunshine will be gone. Zach Wilson may not go to the Jets. You never know. So I'll leave it at that. But you're talking about Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Of that group of guys, I think one of those could fall to 9th, unless the Panthers might. I don't know, but since it seems clear that the Broncos are moving off of Drew Lock, which is a good thing if you ask me. If I'm the Patriots, I move up to that 9th spot and I get whoever falls out. And frankly, I think due to the experience or lack thereof in Trey Lance, he would be the guy that would fall out. Again, that's a guess, obviously. I'm not one of these draft analysts who think they know everything. I'm not a draft analyst at all. I'm just a guy that looks at things on the wall. I'm a student of the game. But I'll put it this way. Trey Lance being a relatively mobile guy, pretty good athlete, pretty smart guy, can make throws, sounds kind of like a Cam Newton type. And now Trey Lance is somebody I'm not necessarily high on, but what the hell do I know, Bobby Blackjack? I wasn't high on one Cameron Newton when he came out of college, and it's easily the biggest miss I made among players. Now granted, he had a horrible showing when he was on with Jay Gruden back when he was on that ex NFL coach show thing he did where he would break down quarterbacks one-on-one, right? And he was talking about calling plays and such. He's like, oh, well, we just had this, this simple scheme or whatever. Completely fooled me. I got a horrible impression from it, and I was all wrong. But say all that to say, if somebody with what very little I've seen of Trey Lance too, by the way, I don't have a full film on him, but I think coming in behind Cam Newton is something that would fit for him. But let me take it to the number 3 pick, Bobby Blackjack, because this is the thing that I think I need to explain to America. Like if we were running a 4-hour show and I was opening it with a monologue like Colin Cowherd does on his show, this would be my focus. Because first of all, I have no idea how Mac Jones became or is being cited as being the favorite of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not here to say they shouldn't consider him. I'm not even here to question what John Lynch has done as a GM for the 49ers ever since in his first draft, he fleeced the bejesus out of the Chicago Bears when they went and got Mitchell Trubisky. And he got all these picks and did so many good things with them to get that defense off the ground. And then the next year he had a damn Super Bowl appearance.
And haven't they learned about, wasn't Trubisky one of those one-year guy in college had the one good year and that was it? And then came out.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that name that pops up, but I think the situation with Trubisky was they were looking for something different. One could argue that they were thinking ahead of their time, right? They were trying to get that mobile quarterback, but unfortunately, they also forgot that throwing the ball is a problem. I mean, granted, I was about to compare it to like a Terrell Pryor type, but in fairness to Terrell Pryor, he only had like 9 starts. We know for a fact that Trubisky is not an NFL starter. That beyond a reasonable doubt. Somehow he made a Pro Bowl his first year, but frankly, I think that has a lot to do with Coach Nagy, who now apparently Bears fans are blaming everything for. But enough about that. Here's the whole thing I'm getting to with the 49ers. As good a GM as John Lynch is, Hall of Famer John Lynch, I could say that now, finally, because they're off their rear ends and inducted him. Who knows? The fact, since I'm inoculated now, maybe I'll go, Bobby. Who the hell knows? I have that option now. But over and above that, Kyle Shanahan is said to be one of, if not the next coach, right? Like maybe people would give Sean McVay that title, but lately that's been waning a bit. Frankly, I thought they went a little too quick on him there too. But Kyle Shanahan has made it to 2 Super Bowls. Say what you will about the performances. Frankly, there's a lot of people that blame him for the 28-3. I kind of get it, but I don't. Over and above that, he had an offense that was competing with one Patrick LaVon Mahomes II until the last half of the fourth quarter. Okay. And even after that, they were one throw away where Jimmy Garoppolo was just a bit high and a bit off that could have put the Niners right back in the lead of that game, right? But nobody wants to talk about that. It's hard for me to believe that Kyle Shanahan, who has his capability, is known as a creative guy. And I mean, hell, look at the Niners receiver core of late. Ain't nothing impressive there. The only name that anybody really knows is Emmanuel Sanders. Let's be honest. A lot of that is running through the fullback and, of course, tight end George Kittle, right? And nobody knows who Juice Sizik is. I do because I cheer for the team, but, whatever. Why would Kyle Shanahan not recognize the essential trend in the NFL that I've come to recognize, that Danny Thompson's come to recognize when he's on the show, that you've come to recognize by hearing us talk about it, if not on your own? And that is the days of the pocket quarterback are gone. And the thing we know for a fact is Mac Jones, compared to his counterparts, is that guy. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. So here's where I'm at. Mac Jones, if there's a time when franchises are inclined to throw out smoke screens, it's draft time. Now, this time 2 weeks ago, Danny Thompson was still on the show. I might have made a comment or two, just basically dismissing it. It's a smokescreen, just like Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. Just
up, then Kyle froze there for a second. I'm going to answer Tom's question. Tom Casey.
like,
all right, are you there?
Yeah, I got you. No, it did something weird with me too. But anyway, so the punchline is if there's any part that there's going to be a smokescreen put up, it'll be during this time of year. And what do you have? 2 weeks ago, I'm telling you Mac Jones is a smokescreen. The next week, I'm telling you Justin Fields is a better choice. And during his pro day, suddenly the buzz out of everywhere was like the Niners were saying, "Oh, psych," or whatever. We really want Fields. Now it's back to Mac Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a successful front office does when they're putting up a ruse. Why? In order to knock teams behind them off balance, right? Because who else is behind them? The Falcons, who for all the people you hear talking about it, correct or not, and no matter how many drinks it'll drive Danny Thompson to take, they're talking about them getting a quarterback, right? Then there's also the Finns allegedly talking about getting a quarterback. And then later on down the line. Now, that actually kind of ties into Tom's question about the Pats trading with Dallas. Dallas being at number 10, I mean, listen, it's one spot too high, but it depends on how. I'm going to say it's not impossible, Tom.
And I think also, Tom, either Dallas or the Giants could do that for you.
Yeah, and to your point, if you feel like the Dallas could still get their guy at 15, if they can do it and get picks, of course Dallas would be about that life. I'm not here to tell you that's wrong, and especially with Dak coming back, it's not like they're in the thing for a quarterback. Frankly, I can see basically anything on defense being a good pick or a shot in the arm to the offensive line that isn't what it used to be, but it is still pretty good. But
I think Dallas is, if I'm going to make a educated guess here, it's going to be a D-back, cornerback like Surtain or Horn. And
yeah, those would be awesome.
Either those guys you could probably get at 15. Now, I think the Giants go defense myself, unless. See, I think the Giants' toughest picks is going to end up being Devontae. I better say Freeman, but not wrong guy.
Smith, right?
Devontae Smith, or I say like a Micah Parsons.
I would love if I were a Cowboys fan, I would love to see them get a hold of Micah Parsons. I don't know that happens at 15. But if their target is some passing game help, and the Giants, listen, it depends on who's at the board there, Tom. But I could see the Giants doing receiver as well. They haven't been as electric since a certain personality left the room. But yeah, no, I could definitely see an upgrade in weapons. And when you have the opportunity to be supported in the ground game like you are by Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, who can move well enough. I mean, listen, sure, he fell flat on his face with nobody around him after a 60-yard run. But the point is, he still got that much yardage before he fell. Let's be clear. It's that whole moving consistently thing that was a problem, not his speed.
Yeah, don't forget also the fact
Tom agrees that Parsons doesn't make it to 15. Go ahead.
And also don't discount the fact that, hey, if Daniel Jones fails next year, right, and they have to get another quarterback, well, they're going to have a stable of offensive weapons to do something, whether it be God knows who the next crop of quarterbacks are in college for next year, or maybe they can or maybe they get a big free agent quarterback to come and win now, because they're going to have a nice stable of weapons for whoever's there if Daniel Jones fails.
Well, and that actually builds very interestingly into my next bold statement here, right? You could call it bold if you want. I actually have already seen some people agree with me on it when I put it out there on the social medias or whatnot. Everyone's talking about Kyle Pitts here and there. I think Kyle Pitts to the Falcons, if you're avoiding defense for some reason, if I'm a Falcon fan, which, but if I'm a Falcon fan, I could see Kyle Pitts being the pick at number 4. Because if you are stuck with Matt Ryan for 2 years, right, thanks to certain cap concerns with the salaries and all that, to get him, it's one thing to just get him another weapon to throw to. We already know how awesome the receiver core is. We hear about it from Danny Thompson every week. But the difference of Kyle Pitts adds so much versatility to the game because he's actually capable of blocking as well, something that at times the Falcons can struggle with, right? But let's say the Falcons don't pick him. I don't think he goes past pick number 5. Why? Joe Burrow needs help and protection just the same, just as badly as he needs more weapons there in Cincinnati. What better way than to get a guy to be both? I'm not here to tell you that he's Gronk. I'm here to tell you that he has the opportunity to maybe be an Aaron Hernandez type, be a type that can do both things, set up the run nicely. Yeah, I know they just lost Gio Bernard, but okay, if you have a guy in the field that is dangerous both in the run and pass game and can also protect, you don't pass that up, especially for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati, I've said it for a few weeks now. They have a really interesting choice to make, whether to protect your quarterback, their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow, or give him a weapon he knows very, very well. They got a real tough choice there. And then now if you want to add Pitts to the equation, that makes it even harder. And to answer Tom's thing right there, oh yeah, I know damn well about Kenny Golladay. I've had him the past 2 years. And when he plays and does well, my team probably won. When he's on the bench for 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row, my team was mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Kenny Golladay.
No, I mean, I'm not here to argue with any of that. See, I've heard that Cincinnati has to draft O-line. Here's the reason why I think they don't, Tom. I think they can get a guy that's just as good-ish with the next pick, right? This isn't necessarily the strongest offensive line draft. I'm not saying it's a bad one. I'm just saying, like, last year was amazing. Tristan Wirtz and all that. You had a lot of guys come out there and make and be huge. I don't feel like you have a guy like that this year. So I feel like to get an offensive lineman, you can wait there for the next pick. If you got a guy like Pitt that can help in protection in addition to being a big weapon, you're doing good there. And listen, if I'm Joe Burrow's mom, I probably agree with you. Protect this poor kid. I've met the guy. I like him. Okay. But, Fiesta Bowl with UCF. What can I say? But I think that Pitts, the same way people feel good about Sunshine Trevor Lawrence being a generational guy, I'm getting that same kind of a read from Pitts that we're getting there. The last time I've heard a guy talked up this much at the tight end position is former 49er who was picked, I think, about 6 or 7 at the time in Vernon Davis, and he panned out very nicely, being a pretty good weapon for both Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. But there you go. Well, now Tom's looking to do some wishful thinking. I'm not prepared to think any of that happens, but that's a whole other question. So no, I mean, those are kind of my main theories. The other thing I would say too is, for my money, I don't think Devonta Smith passes pick 6. I think the Dolphins make that pick. I think they stick with Tua. I think it's just too soon to whiff off of him like that. I've heard the arguments to not to pick another quarterback and have Tua compete in camp and all this happy stuff. But at the end of the day, honestly, at this point, they've done enough to damage Tua Tagovailoa's confidence. Why do more at this point? Because even then, you would even ruin him as somebody who could be tradable at this juncture, right? Like, for example, in the same way they got value by trading Josh for Josh Rosen, the Cardinals got a 2nd-round pick for him. That's something they could do in this year. Tom, Pitts has to fall to him for that to happen. My theory is he doesn't get past 5, as I said. So, I mean, if he does, I agree with you. I'll add this. Can you imagine an ace formation with Gesicki and Pitts on either side? That's a good formation, period. Yeah, he said the same thing. Why, Tom, what makes you think they would run a old Patriots formation? Oh, that's right. Flores is a former Pat, for those that don't remember. Yes, excellent point, Tom. I agree with you. I don't think Pitts gets past 5, but if he does, he sure as hell doesn't get past 6. I'm with you on that, 100%. Let's see here. Coming up on 9:30. Well, we're not quite there yet, but let me ask you this, Bobby, while we got a minute. You mentioned what the Giants are going to do. Where I get a little into, like, it is a safe statement in your opinion that what drives the top half of that first round is the Falcons. Like, they can completely throw everyone for a loop if they happen to do what Danny Thompson and frankly me would love to see them do and get Micah Parsons and do something for that defense, right? That completely throws a lot of people off. Like, then at that point, you have only 3 of the 5 quarterbacks taken, right? What happens then? Because frankly, okay, Cincinnati is not taking a quarterback. The Dolphins might. But I feel like if a quarterback slips past that 3rd spot, I have a feeling that the Miami Dolphins will be fielding some phone calls. And that's what will get really interesting for me. No, this is all plenty of good fodder. We could talk with Brandon Howard once he jumps aboard here.
He's in the green room.
All right, well, let's get him in here, man. This is somebody who I can safely say I've had one of the top 5 podcasts in my entire life. He may not even remember it anymore, but it was on my old podcast, and I know he was in the room when I said it, when we were talking about whether or not college athletes should be paid or not. I don't know who remembers that, but whatever. I've written with this guy, been that lucky. Now he's writing for The Athletic, doing a lot of great things. I still follow him. I still love his work. And why wouldn't I? He happens to have a lot of talent. I'll leave it at that. When people ask how they should draft, my answer is this: B How Brandon Howard with us here from The Athletic. What's going on, Brandon?
Nothing much, man. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Really
hey, listen, that B How line was something I was working on for a little bit. I was trying to work that in there, so I hope it landed. So listen, man, the reason why I bring up that podcast you and I had is there's something that happened to take place during UCF spring game that fell right in the lap of that conversation we had years ago about college athletes and branding, all that. Oh, I'm getting big nods from that one.
Yeah. This one. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. But in this one in particular, at the UCF spring game, the players came out and instead of their names on the jerseys, they had their Twitter handles, man. Yeah. So I know there are a lot of the old school, how dare they do that with their jerseys? Oh, it's desecration. I want to know from somebody who is a former player who appreciates the branding aspect. What did you think of it, my man?
I think it was cool. It was a nice step in the right direction. But, just because they did that, it does not mean revenue participation necessarily, Right. So, only a select few of players are going to benefit from that, so it's not going to be the entire team,
Sure.
becoming, reputable or well-known. That's really dependent upon your play. So you play well, you'll get the recognition, and, that's fine as well. I think that's just a small piece. For me, the biggest thing is when these guys graduate. And, a lot of these guys are forced and cajoled into these Mickey Mouse majors, these small thinking where you don't have to put forth much effort to get a 4-year degree. So it counts towards the school's, counting of, we've had X amount of players graduate, so they're forced into these majors where they can't do anything with that when they graduate. So my whole thing would be, to me, what would be more valuable is allow these people to come back when their college playing days are done and audit these courses. So there has to be some cash reserves in place to allow this to happen. And I don't think that, putting their Twitter handle is necessarily, the route to go. But I think that it's helpful, the more, exposure leads to expansion. We've heard that phrase time and time again, and it's cool. So you get more recognition and notoriety, but at the same time, it's about building yourself, building, some worth when you come out of school. That's important. And to be able to major in something that you can use when you finish school, I think is more important.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. And actually, first of all, don't think I didn't notice that we're talking about a school in Orlando and you referenced something being a Mickey Mouse course. That's not me, Brendan Howard. You thought you were smooth. You didn't get that one by. I caught it. But I'll say this. You're right. It doesn't solve the bigger problem.
Right.
But when you have a school like UCF that amongst colleges in the country are better in social media than a lot of the old cats and the blue bloods, right? This is kind of that first step. And granted, even for the people who are like, oh my God, Twitter handles on jerseys. Let's be clear. When the games count, they're going to be doing the branding that matters for their potential career and have their names on the jersey, because the scouts want to see that. Let's be clear. Absolutely. This isn't going to be a permanent thing. And the reason why I love it happening in the spring game is that is the time, even if you're in the press, the first exposure you get to a lot of guys is in that spring game. That's how I first heard about Greg McCrae. That's when I first heard about Dylan Gabriel. I predicted both those guys hitting the field as starters in their respective years during that spring game. So now it's different with Gus Malzahn because he's brought in so many transfers. You don't know what's going to happen there. No, but in that particular instance, I think you're talking about grand scheme. No, it doesn't solve the problem, but you mentioned the exposure leading to expansion. I think you're nailing that. But I think this model is going to become a microcosm about how things are handled within a season. Here's our players. Here's their Twitter handle so you can follow them. The ones that you see and like, whether they make a big play or not, you like them. I don't know. Maybe you like how their hair is cut. Corey Snyder used to color his hair. It's all good. Whatever. Now you're following them. Now that they can lift that brand there from before. Now, obviously, you mentioned the participation thing. We've obviously spoken. We aren't necessarily in the same thing with that, but I think the best compromise is definitely based off the branding. And like you said, step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. So let's jump into it. I want to bring. I need to see now. I'm switching from using your hat as a former college athlete to somebody who is a credible member of the media, not just a mouth like me. Listen,
come on,
man.
Give yourself more credit, man.
Exactly.
But going right to the third round pick, because apparently the powers that be have told us. I mean, listen, the Jags are picking Sunshine. That's happening. We know that. For some reason, the Jets seem to be locked in on Zach Wilson. I don't get that, but it's the Jets chaos. It's what they do. And he's making a look. He's like, what chaos?
Are they?
Are they? Exactly. That's what we're being told. That's why I'm putting. If they didn't, I got excited. The most excited I've gotten for Jets fans in a long time.
Right.
But let's assume that all happens. The hype coming out of the third pick, and I'm not just saying this because I follow the 49ers, but the hype coming out for that third pick is Mac Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my conspiracy theory. You could tell me if I'm crazy. Have you not seen John Lynch, the moment he walked in the door, fleecing teams at the draft? And now you think he's going to put himself in a position to where you think you know what he's doing and that they're going to go with a quarterback that completely bucks the trend of what's happening at the quarterback position right now. You and I have had conversations about our good friend that now plays with the Baltimore Ravens in L. Jack. That's a thing. Quarterbacks have to move now. And you expect me to believe John Lynch as a GM and Kyle Shanahan as a coach are going to get a quarterback to keep themselves behind the curve in the NFL? You're going to fall for that? Because I'm not. I think it's a smokescreen. What say you, B-How?
I'm not necessarily falling for it. But if there's one coach out there that believes his system transcends what's happening with NFL defenses and how quickly defensive ends can get upfield and get after the quarterback, it's Shanahan. He's got the ego that would allow him to move up that far in the draft and make that pick. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't. I tend to believe that you mentioned the Jets earlier. I don't think that the Jets are necessarily locked in on Wilson. Mm-hmm. I think that the only place where that narrative continues to be repeated, and if you repeat it enough times, I guess it becomes truth, is in the national media. But that doesn't mean that that's necessarily the case. I think that the Jets could potentially go with Justin Fields.
I'd love to see that too, by the way, right?
And you mean to tell me that,
here it goes. I like it. Go.
No, you mean to tell me that that conference, that division, and you've got Tua in there. You don't think that you go with Justin Fields, who out of high school was ranked among one of the better quarterbacks in all of high school, goes into, into the college football ranks, performs admirably, and he fits what's happening in the NFL right now with the trend of the mobile quarterbacks. And like you said, our quarterbacks have to be able to move now. So
I mean, top 5 quarterbacks are all mobile, right?
Right. Yeah, they have to be able to move. And get out of harm's way, extend the plays, make off-platform throws, all of those things. Justin Fields, to me, fits the bill. I think that he fits in that division, and going up, I'd feel more comfortable if I'm the Jets going up against a team like the Dolphins moving forward, who's going to have a signal caller that, a lot of people think highly of in Tua. And having that rivalry there, and you want to say you want to make that Travis Wilson instead, I don't think that, I think at that point you're essentially, going into a gunfight with a butter knife. I don't really think that it's, and I'm not saying that Travis Wilson can't be good in the NFL. I just don't think that he's Justin Fields.
Oh yeah, certainly not. Zach Wilson is going to come down to where he lands. And for somebody who I would put him as a gunslinger type. I saw him play a couple times. I saw him in the Coastal Carolina game. And of course, I saw him play in the bowl game against UCF, which, I mean, frankly, with all the starters they were missing and the struggles they had defensively toward the end of the year, especially after all the opt-outs of from COVID, after all the starters they lost due to off the field stuff, you want to talk about gunfight with a butter knife. Well, and in that particular case, Zach Wilson was the gun. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But the level of competition, I've literally had people tell me that doesn't matter. Okay, but I'm with you. I feel like the Jets need to go a different direction with a guy that needs less. I feel like Zach Wilson would benefit the same way Lamar Jackson did, getting picked later in that first round potentially to be successful. Right. So I mean. Agree. We're not here saying he's bad, folks. So anybody who's from Utah, we're not after you. I love Karl Malone and John Stockton. Take it easy. But anyways, so
real quick, one thing that seems to be overlooked, is there any possibility that Tua gets traded this draft?
You know what? A lot of people do feel that way, but just the general feeling and just kind of knowing the people inside that building a little bit and the feeling inside that building, I don't feel that could even be the case. There seems to be a genuine relationship there between not just Tua, but the front office and Tua's family. And there's a big time connection there. And I don't think that they'd be selling us on Tua for this long and this hard for them to make a move like that.
But then real quick though,
yeah,
if Deshaun Watson doesn't have these legal troubles, that could have happened.
That could have definitely happened, because then you're okay. So when was the last time a 25, 26-year-old quarterback was available in his prime, and the resources were available to do it? So that definitely could have happened. I'm not, thumbing my nose up at that one. That was definitely something that was being looked at. But as far as going back into the draft and finding a rookie, who doesn't have any NFL experience, obviously, and then banking on that player maybe becoming better than Tua, we don't know that. There's so many unknowns. You might as well love the one you're with at that point. So I think that's when they come to the conclusion that, hey, let's just hold on to Tua. And all that you've heard from Chris Grier, from Flores, is that, hey, he's going to take the big jump this year. I even tweeted about it being silly, saying, I'm gonna just nickname him Big Jump because that's all you keep hearing. He's gonna make the big jump this year, big jump. So I think that they have confidence in him. There were a lot of factors last year that played into him maybe not having the type of year that Justin Herbert had, but namely that he wasn't 100%. They tried to spin it, and say that he was completely healthy. There's no way in the world. So this year, second year back from injury, I think you'll see a different guy.
And I'll put it this way. It was this time that many years ago that I was writing the article for the Dolphins Wire, of which we're both veterans, right?
Right.
Where Flores was on that 5-year mission to seek out strange new worlds, namely the postseason, right? So for him to move off to and now, I feel like would be riskier to complete that 5-year mission. So I'll put it, especially with an opportunity, Pitts or Devonta Smith will be available at 6. And that kind of leads me to the next, you can call it a conspiracy theory if you want. I'll call it a theory of mine, a student theory, if you will. 2 players are not going past these 2 picks, right? I don't think Kyle Pitts gets past number 5. I don't think Devonta Smith gets past number 6. Are either of those nuts?
Devonta Smith could potentially slide past 6.
Okay.
There's been, and who knows what they'll do, but I could definitely see the Dolphins going Jamar Chase over Devonta Smith.
Oh, okay. But it's the same concept of position. It would be just a different style.
Exactly. So, but the scenario playing in my head, I do feel as though Pitts may be available at 6.
Really? So you think he gets past Cincinnati?
I feel like there are too many quarterback hungry teams, too many teams planning for the future. And you look at how Burrow got injured last year.
Mm-hmm.
Can they afford to take a pass catcher at that point? That's what remains to be seen.
Well, you're right, but I would also submit that Pitts can help in protection as well. And did he have a security blanket at the tight end position like Pitts present at the tight end position last year? I don't think that was the case. I think you can get kind of an Aaron Hernandez type of thing out of him where he can be involved in the run game. I don't say Gronk because Pitts isn't that big, but I don't know. That's where it was. But hey, listen, I'm the student of the game. I got you here to get me right, and the fact that I'm not being laughed off the stage is awesome. so let me ask you this, because if Danny Thompson were here, this would come up. He is loath to the concept that the Atlanta Falcons will draft the quarterback or Kyle Pitts at the 4 spot. I believe he's gone to many lengths, perhaps calling Arthur Blank, perhaps doing some sort of voodoo ritual, which would be awkward because I think he would have to go to Saints country to do that, but whatever. And even perhaps put some sort of mural and spiritual marking on his wall to make sure that they draft Micah Parsons. Is there any, oh my gosh, Danny, I'm sorry, this sounds like it's going to be bad news for you. Is there any hope that they do that? Because personally, I'd kind of like to see it too. I just don't think it's going to happen. What say you, Brandon?
I honestly believe that the Falcons will go the way of selecting a quarterback. You only get so many opportunities to draft this high up. And they had a type of season where, okay, yeah, it's time to start looking at the future. You can't rely on Matt Ryan to galvanize the troops and just lead the team and carry them anymore. So this might be the perfect time to go ahead and try to figure out what's there at the quarterback position and what fits your scheme best. And I got half a mind to believe that they may have some interest in Mac Jones. So I feel like that'd be a good fit, considering the style of play, considering the offense, considering the fact that he's the player that a lot of people are, comparing Mac Jones to. So
I know I do.
So why not get the ball rolling on your rebuild? I know that, your franchise quarterback may be upset about it, but that's life. You have to deal with it.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I don't think he's a guy that's playing till 45.
Exactly.
I don't think he's that guy. And if you bring in a Fields, a Lance, even a Zach Wilson, their skill sets don't match Matt Ryan. So if you're trying to be, if you're not just straight up tanking, like, my favorite conspiracy theory I wrote, was, I wrote at one point that I felt like the Dolphins were trying to get clever for Trevor. You may have had a few laughs at that on Twitter.
I remember.
But unless they're going full tank mode, right? I don't see it making sense to get a quarterback that doesn't transition nicely. And sure, there might be some quarterback bitterness, but you know what? That was a case for Aaron Charles Rodgers as well, and that turned out pretty okay. And I think that question might even be on Final Jeopardy next week. Anyway, Bobby had asked me a question that I'm going to throw to you before you got here. Every team in the AFC East has gotten better somehow, except for maybe the Jets. The draft will be their chance. If they're smart enough to get Fields, I'm with you. That sounds awesome. But that includes even the likes of Bill Belichick and the Brady-less Patriots. I thought they were going to slide into that 7th spot of the playoffs at 8-8. Okay, well, and we missed it by a game, Brandon, 7-9, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if there's a place, if the conspiracy theory is that the Patriots are going to trade up to snag a quarterback, where do you feel like that would happen, and who might it be? Because my theory is that they get in at 9, they get the pick from the Broncos, who are talking about moving off of Drew Lock, mm-hmm. and they get in there and they snag, I don't know, a Trey Lance or whoever falls out. What say you?
You said the name. That's the player I think that you got to think about this. Trey Lance is the son of a former NFL player. So he's super smart kid. There's reports that he's going into these meetings not even really having to study, and he understands the concepts that a lot of these teams run.
Really? Wow.
Bill Belichick is incredibly attracted to players that really, really know the game. And especially at the quarterback position, people don't understand. That's why he really liked Jacoby Brissett. Mm-hmm. Jacoby Brissett, extremely cerebral. And that's why Bill Parcells, he had a connection to Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells told Belichick, hey, you got to take this guy. You got to bring this kid in. Smart kid. Same thing with Trey Lance. So I can definitely see if there's any way for them to move up just a bit, to go ahead and snag him, I think that'd be a good pairing.
So Brandon, regarding Trey Lance, if you had to pit him between Carson Wentz and Josh Allen, very similar quarterbacks, what side of the
the pendulum would want to be on? Yeah. I would say he would be more on the side of Josh Allen. But I think that as far as with the ball in his hands as a runner, he's not as reckless. He knows what to do with the ball. He doesn't look like just, someone running recklessly. He looks like someone who may have played running back at maybe at the youth level or something like that. He just knows how to protect himself a bit better, if you understand what I'm saying. So he's
a Kyler Murray kind of vibe.
What'd you say?
Kind of a Kyler Murray in that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Knows how to protect himself. And that's what you look for. But I think that as a passer, there's some things he needs to clean up. And I don't think that his footwork is where Wentz was when he was coming out. I think that, there's some things that he's still working to clean up. And I know, he's been working at that, big time with Quincy Avery and folks like that. So he's been working to clean up the footwork, his get his release a little bit more compact. I think that when it's all said and done, you'll see a player that's even a bit more polished than Josh Allen, but he's more Josh Allen in my opinion than he would be Wentz.
Because remember, this time last year, Josh Allen I'm not going to say a bum, but there were questions, right? And then suddenly he gets Stephon Diggs And then Gabe Davis breaks out as a pretty solid rookie. Cole Beasley basically rejuvenates himself. And then Ross, when he's not hurt, contributes. And now they have Emmanuel Sanders.
Right.
So Josh Allen didn't come out of the womb, out of the draft, nailing it. There was some development there. But, I mean, to hear what you're saying, if given time and eventually proper weapons, you see danger coming for whoever has to face him. That's interesting.
Absolutely. It's going to take some time because, look, we really didn't get a chance to see him that much. He was a year wonder, the year before. Then he played the one game, and he really didn't even play that well in that game. So he had the one game showcase. He just doesn't have a lot of football, behind him in college. So hopefully he can get into a system where he's allowed that time to develop, get a couple preseasons under his belt, some preseason games, get to watch the guy in front of him. And then he gets to enter the lineup feeling fully comfortable with not only just the playbook, but the speed of the game. And once that light bulb kind of clicks for him, I think he's going to be okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't agree more with that concept. And I did not have that piece that he was connected to the Parcells camp that way and was referred to smart that makes me reevaluate myself. Yeah. And it doesn't help that Mitchell Trubisky, being a similar top guy that just kind of out of nowhere emerged, being freshly pushed aside for the Red Rifle himself, Andy Dalton, that's not helping his case now either, I would say, in the minds of some other people. Brandon, before we let you go, one more bit of a challenge question, something we do here on Beyond the Buzzer is we have Mount Rushmore, where you take the top 4 of how you think about something. See, normally I'm sitting where you sit. I don't have preparation for the question, but don't worry, I'm hitting you with a relatively easy one. Of the cities that remain to host the draft, give me your top 4 of where the draft should be next. Brandon Howard. Man,
my favorite city in the world is Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
So, I love that place. So I'd say that's one. And why not here in South Florida? So
thank you.
Let's here, and let's see here.
Because the Vegas one's already been announced, but it's not been there yet. If you say that, I'll let you have it.
Okay, so let's we gotta throw Vegas in there. And man, this is tough. It
wasn't a softball. I knew that 4th one was tough. It was tough for me. I feel like they've already had it at the place I do at 4th.
Yeah. Have we done LA?
Yeah, I thought we did LA already.
Did LA? Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah, we did. We sure did. Man, that's a tough one.
See, I'd be Homer. I'd go to Tampa to get 2 in Florida, but I'm selfish.
So have we done Atlanta yet?
I feel like we have.
Have we done Atlanta?
I'll put it this way.
Have we done Atlanta? Have we done the draft in Atlanta?
See, I thought about Atlanta and I was sure that already happened, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, it has, but I mean, I could be wrong, but if it hasn't, then shame on the NFL. If we,
I'm sure my good friend Raphael Haynes would love for it to be Atlanta because then he would go. It'd be great. So actually, they say in 2021, that's this year.
That would be this year.
Yeah. Let me try that again because apparently I don't know how to read. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. NFL draft in Atlanta.
They should put it in Pittsburgh. That'd be a great time.
Pittsburgh is an underrated.
Pittsburgh is a city that mirrors Cleveland so much, So yes, that would be another good one.
Okay, so yeah, we'll put Atlanta/Pittsburgh. Brandon Howard, you have done an awesome job at Mount Rushmore. I handed it to you because I knew you would have that talent. We didn't talk baseball tonight, but you sure as hell knocked it out the park.
Appreciate it, man.
Awesome time. Please, 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 please tell the people where you could be found on the interwebs, on The Athletic, all that stuff, where they can get your material about all the great stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at bhoward_81. And also, I've got some pre-draft work coming up for The Athletic. was able to kind of highlight the positions of wide receiver positions and what's a good fit there. So check that out when you get a chance. And also, I've got some fantasy work coming up about just kind of the nature of the quarterback position and the black quarterback and how the black quarterback has come about in the NFL and some of the struggles that they continue to go through. But I'm kind of taking a fantasy angle of what could have happened if X quarterback would have gotten an opportunity to play the position that they wanted to play. So definitely taking the fantasy approach with that, and should be some fun. And I'm actually going to have some interviews as well, talking to quarterbacks past and present.
Nice. Just out of curiosity, does Terrell Pryor make that list?
He will eventually. We'll get there.
Nice. Because he's a guy I always liked, but I it's unfortunate that the 9 games he played weren't great, and I point that out. And people have even gotten the wrong idea of how I feel about Terrell Pryor on Twitter. I don't know if you saw some of the exchanges I've had, but it's like no.
I know you didn't mean it in a way.
That wasn't with you, was it? I don't.
No, it wasn't with me, but it might have been. I mean, we've had our fair share.
I mean, listen, I'm not the one that said Geno Smith should start over Eli Manning. I wasn't that guy. I'm messing with you.
I was. In that one start, he actually did not perform poorly.
I mean, it makes for a great conversation. We always have that with my good friend Brandon Howard. I don't care. Whatever happens, I'd love to have you back sometime. Thank you for taking time. I know you're a busy dude. You nailed Mount Rushmore. You nailed it tonight. You helped us a lot here on Beyond the Buzzer. We'll see you next time.
One more question for Brandon.
Go ahead, Bobby, please.
I mentioned this to Kyle earlier. Do you foresee a 6th quarterback entering the first round? And if so, who would it be?
Ooh, I do not. I know people are talking about Mills. And I don't foresee that being the case. I know, normally when a quarterback is taken into round 1, somebody trades back into the first round and they, so they can get the 5th-year option on the player. I don't foresee that being the case this year. I don't know if there's any sort of prop bet or anything like that or that we could take, but I feel fully.
Yeah, I'd be going to take, actually.
I don't see that. I don't foresee that being the case this year.
So keep in mind that me and Brandon Howard both live in the same state, and we're saying to you firmly, to you Gator fans, Kyle Trask is not first round worthy. Deal with it.
Not going to
happen. Not a bad player, just not first round guy.
Right.
All right. Brandon, man, thanks for stopping by. Awesome go around. Thank you for solidifying and correcting my various theories on the first round of the draft thus far. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
All right, Brandon Howard, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, what can I tell you? Like I said, there's a reason why this was one of the guys I had one of my best podcasts of all time with Bobby. Boom. So,
you know what? I'm not a sports bettor at all. I'm not into sports betting, aside from playing like fantasy and stuff. But I might actually consider that 6th quarterback, because you know what? Like we mentioned earlier, if those 5 guys go off the board freaking quickly with some trades or whatnot, and teams falling back, you know what? Think about the Steelers, the Bears, potentially the Seahawks, because there's whispers that our buddy leaves next year. You know what? That might be a pretty fair chance that a 6th quarterback pops in at the end.
Pittsburgh is a better theory than Russell Carrington Wilson, but we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, brother. So, anyways, for my friend Bobby Bladchak, the currently absent Danny Thompson, I am Kyle Nash, listener of the game. Had a great time here on Beyond the Buzzer. We'll see everybody next week. I-95 will be having a special draft show. Since Danny Thompson and I have our teams picking right close to each other, we will appear for pick 3 and 4. It will not be at the normal 9:00 time because the draft would have started by then. But what's the deal, Bob? You starting at the same time as the draft, right?
Thinking about, we start maybe half hour before the draft, start getting everybody's theories out there and have some fun with that. And then, Big Bird gets picked, and then you know what? The intrigue starts, like you said, with number 2, because again, Zach Wilson may not be the guy they really want. Maybe it is Justin Fields.
I mean, I'll put it this way: if the Jets get Justin Fields, you will hear me do a complete 180 on Trey Lance, especially based on the information we got from Brandon Howard of The Athletic tonight.
It'll be pretty interesting next week. Also, is if some possible way Kyle Pitts falls to the Panthers, right? And then I would
at 7.
And then Sam Darnold's like, suck it. Look who I got now, guys. I got New York, and I got this guy, I got that guy. Screw you guys.
I mean, the Panthers are at 8. Oh, there's no way he goes past Detroit. Oh, God, no, that's not going to happen. If it does.
So much intrigue next week. It is so exciting. It is so, I mean, like I said, you and Danny's team, 3 and 4, could change the whole complex of the first half of the round.
Well, I mean, we know
have trickle-down effects to the rest of the first round.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we know the Niners are taking a quarterback at this point. I mean, I know at one point they went and alleged that Jimmy Garoppolo, excuse me, was not in danger of losing his starting job or was not in danger of leaving the team or any of that. And then they traded up to number 3. Okay, the answer to that is no. They did that for a quarterback. But that being said, we know the Niners are getting a quarterback. Atlanta is the first truly unpredictable pick. They're going to be the first pick that isn't guaranteed to go quarterback. And if you believe Danny Thompson, they're not guaranteed to go even offense. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us don't. And though I even kind of agree with Danny philosophically, I don't think that's going to happen either. But I'm sorry, Danny. But that's not to say that number 4 pick isn't where the things start to branch off and get unpredictable. Should make for a good time early in your draft show here on Blackjack TV / Facebook Live. We would love, by the way, for you to run that through the Beyond the Buzzer channel next week as well, because that will be playing over our typical show. So that'd be a good time.
Yeah. I don't think Kurt's going to be a contributor. I don't think he's running it. So I'm going to be running it. I'll keep it on StreamYard because I think even if we have 10 people on screen and we still have a few more waiting and we can go back and forth and like tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. I can tell you that, being a father of small children, I'm going to jump in and say my piece. I'm going to jump back out. So, but, that doesn't mean I'm not stoked for the event. This is going to be really cool.
By the way, I heard something on the radio today. They were really having a lot of laughs out of supposedly new coach in Philadelphia on Zoom calls with his coaches, have him playing rock, paper, scissors.
He's doing that to test competitiveness. I've heard that.
But one of the guys up here I was listening to on the radio, they were just having a ball. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing? Jeopardy questions, rock, paper, scissors on Zoom calls. Woo!
At the end of the day,
either a genius or he's
he's either there's a fine line between genius and insanity, Bobby Blackjack. I think that's what you're getting at.
Exactly. All right, buddy.
Cool. Yeah, man, great show tonight. We'll see everybody next time. And in the words of Danny Thompson, have a great night, everyone. Peace.